What's up, family? Welcome back to Patient X Holistic Healing, where we discuss the mental, physical, and spiritual aspects of health, right? Today's video, we're going to talk about aura. This is a very common thing now. You know, everybody want to talk about, oh, surgery got aura. Surgery, like, I'm glad that this is catching on. You know, right now it's just lingo, but the lingo is awakening people and bringing people to the frequency to be able to understand what aura really is. And that aura is really a real thing. In another video, I'm going to talk about the science of the aura, you know, the electromagnetic field and all of that scientific goodness. But in today's video, we're going to keep it straight philosophical and down to earth, but still spiritual, right? That being said, if you've never seen me before, my name is Professor X. I'll be your healing coach and spiritual teacher today. Without further ado, let's get right into it. It's 3 levels of aura, right? I'm going to say them all right now, and then I'm gonna present them to you in an orderly fashion, right? So first we have focus and presence. How present are you in the moment? That's like one of the main defining factors. If you can't be present, your aura is gonna be very, very weak. Number 2 is intellect, right? Now, intellect is not talking about intelligence or how smart you are. People misconstrue. Intellect is about how you use your intelligence, how you use your energy, your emotions, how you utilize your resources. That's intellect. Then the last factor, we got wealth, right? People think this is the main one. People think this is it, and it's not. There are about 5 to 6 levels of wealth that affect your aura. Since people are very physical and astral, they focus on how things look rather than how things really are. And this is why wealth can give false aura. You know, I'm going to talk about that in this video, false aura. False aura is real, and it's rampant, especially right now, since people don't truly understand aura yet. It's just, you know, a talking point or some cool shit to say. But aura is a very, very real thing, and it impacts almost everything that you do. And everything that you do impacts your aura. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The main things that concern your aura is how you project yourself onto your environment and how you receive your environment as well. That's basically the function of the aura, inside, outside. And you got to be able to use these inputs and outputs as information. The same way, you know, the camera got an input and output, or your TV has an input and output. You know, the stereo has an input and output. That's to relay messages. Your aura is basically the input and output to the universe. And that's how the universe reads you. Your frequency is a very big part of your aura too. The aura produces a frequency. And that frequency combines with other higher frequencies of your spiritual bodies and basically defines the category and level of being you are. How high are you in consciousness? What is the quality of your being? That type of deal, right? So let's get right into focus. Focus and presence is, I want to say it's the number one, but these are all equal, to be honest. They're all equal. And a lot of people sleep on focus. Even myself, sometimes I catch myself not being focused and not being present in the moment. And that really takes a great deal on your aura. Matter of fact, if you want to grow your aura right now without doing anything, just focus like this and keep moving. Focus throughout everything that you do. Your aura will grow magnificently, like a lot. That's probably the number one thing that you could do right now to grow your aura, is literally just to be focused and present. Whenever I'm more focused than normal, or I'm actually trying to stay focused, I always hear my spirit guides and different, you know, astral entities tell me like, oh, you know, it's growing or you're growing, because they can see my aura expand when I focus up. The reason why your aura expands when you focus is because your energy gets bottlenecked. With that laser focus, it's shining through the narrow point, less energy is going through and you're losing less energy. So your aura builds that energy up. You'll actually notice that it takes energy to be focused and to stay focused when you're just starting out, but the more you do it, the less energy you'll actually lose. You know, it's way more efficient to be focused. When you're not focused, you're basically just fucking off your energy. And when it comes to ascending in consciousness, that doesn't fly. A lot of my spirit guides and higher entities that I deal with, they really promote focus, because that's like, when you're not focused, you open yourself up to the forces of evil. Now that we talked about focus, we're going to get into intellect, right? Intellect is, like I said, it's often misinterpreted. People think it's how smart you are. Intellect does not really have much to do with how smart you are. It's about how well you can do with what you have. You know what I'm saying? For example, if I have $5, but I know how to turn that $5 into $5 million, I'm at a better position than somebody who has $1 million but doesn't know what to do with it. You see what I'm saying? It's about quality, not quantity. I'd rather be the person with $5 that knows how to flip it to 5 million. And that's about intellect, right? Intelligence is about quantity. You know, how much do you know? What are your resources looking like? That's different. And that's a part of your wealth. You feel me? I'm going to get to that later. But your intellect, you need to know how to manage your resources and energy. A big part of intellect and managing your energy is also emotions. A lot of people drain themselves off of emotional faculties, and it is unnecessary. You know, I try my best to not be as emotional. Lately, I've been falling into it because there's certain things that I'm dealing with in my life. But at the end of the day, I always go to bed happy because that's where you're going to be receiving more energy and you're going to have a better flow of energy. When you're sad, you kind of cut yourself off and restrict yourself. And now your inner fire kind of gets dwindled. So you stop feeding off of yourself. And then you also kind of allow other beings to feed off of you. You know, when you're sad, you have to really protect your mind because that's when other beings can come in. And even though your aura kind of closes up, your mind is beyond your aura. It definitely affects your aura, but your mind, beings can siphon you through your mind. So you want to stay away from that. A lot of people don't even know that it's spirits that's making them have sad and depressing thoughts. And that's how it goes. That's not the defining factor. Sometimes we make ourselves feel these things so that we can grow and so that we can reflect. But other beings will try and capitalize off of that. And that's a whole spiritual warfare topic. That's another video. But a big part of spiritual warfare is intellect. You got to know how to use the sword. If you don't know how to use it, you can't cut anything down. You got to know how to use the shield. If you don't know how to use the shield, you can't protect yourself. But now that we talked about intellect, we're going to get into wealth, right? It's going to be the longest portion because, like I told you, it's like 6 levels of wealth that you got to focus on. And I'm going to have a whole video on wealth on its own. I actually do have one. It's from like a year ago. If you find it, it's probably like the 5 pillars of wealth or whatever. But I've added to this philosophy and I've added another pillar. They go as follows. You have your monetary wealth. That's the least important. You have the vital wealth or your health wealth. Vitality, that's of a lot of importance. A lot of people overlook that. Then you have your intelligence wealth, which is how much do you know? What do you know? Are you learning? You know, that's one of the most important ones that people overlook. They think that since they know something, but they don't have some change, that it doesn't matter. No, what you know literally reflects your pockets. A lot of the most smartest people in the world are not broke. And there's a reason why. The next pillar of wealth is temporal. How well do you use your time? You get time almost for free. You pay with your life, but you still get it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't get money. A lot of people, they don't have the ability to have good health, but they always have time. And that's one of your biggest assets, living in a temporal realm, living in time. You got to be using your time wisely. And that kind of goes into intellect. How well are you using your resources? Time is one of your biggest resources. Then you got spiritual wealth. What is your spiritual inheritance? Do you even know you have a spiritual inheritance? Because everybody does. How well are you tapped in with your soul and your spirit? Do you have a relationship with God? These are the most important things, right? This one and the next one are the most important ones. Overlooked. Spiritual is actually the most important. Spirit should always come first. But next we have spatial, right? This is the most recent addition to the list. Your spatial wealth is very, very important. A lot of people don't know. It's a reason why you will never come around certain people, ever. It's a certain reason, and that plays a lot into your aura. Like I told you, the frequency will decide whether certain people can come around you and why. Your frequency will literally repel everything that's not for you, and it'll attract everything that is for you. And a lot of that has to do with your spatial wealth. You feel me? Some people will never come around me ever in their life. Not because I decided, literally just because the fates of the universe decided. This person will never ever come into 20 feet of this person. For the most part, I attract ascended beings in life. And you'll notice that as you get in tune with yourself, you'll attract a lot more ascended beings. I remember I would be working at 9 to 5 and I'll be helping people. And some random dude comes up to me talking about frequency and shit. There's a lot of spiritual people where they be like, oh, I never meet spiritual people. Oh, you know, I've never met a ascended person. Like, that has a lot to do with your frequency, man. And I used to be in that boat too. But once I started making certain changes in my life, I started attracting these type of people all the time. And that has to do with your space. How well do you keep your space? Like, if you want to know if somebody has good spatial wealth, look at their room. As far as y'all know, my room is pretty well maintained. You know what I'm saying? Not only my room, but my home. My home is very clean. The odor is smelling good. You know, I keep my body clean. That's a big part of spatial wealth as well, and vital wealth. You know what I'm saying? Now that I've told y'all all the different levels of wealth, I want to get into false aura. How people can use wealth to fake aura. By nature, when you have wealth, you become confident. That's the truth. You could even see it in the stock market or in people's pockets, you know, at the grocery store. When people have less money, they feel less confident to buy the things that they enjoy. And it's not necessarily because, oh, I have less money, so, you know, parallel, I'm going to buy less stuff. Some people just lose the confidence. They don't feel like they could support that. They feel like, oh, you know, if I spend the same amount of money today, even though I have less money, I could lose out in the future in some way, shape, or form. And for me, bruh, I'm a rich ass nigga. When I be at the store and I know I got less money than normal, I still get the same stuff. You feel me? I budget pretty well anyway. I don't spend too much money at the store, but it's like I know I'm gonna get it in the back end. And having that faith in my own wealth is a big part of my aura and my energy. I don't move in lack. You know what I'm saying? Now, still move with discernment. You feel me? If you got to spend less money, nigga, spend less money. But don't let that make you less confident. You feel me? Some people, they got the method down. They're overly confident from their wealth, and they can move with their chest out, you know, head high, and people be like, oh, that such and such got aura. You know, such and such is mysterious. Whole time, such and such is depraved. Such and such is a bad person. You see this a lot with celebrities. You feel me? It's certain people that they be giving the aura title. Oh, such and such got aura, such and such got, and I'll be looking like, man, these niggas don't got no aura. And when it comes to aura, the one thing you shouldn't do is look at it as a hierarchy. You feel me? The second you put somebody else above you, you lost. This is why being able to accurately perceive aura and know the actual building blocks of aura is important. You know, truth be told, I'm a rich ass dude, but I don't have a lot of money. I'm like middle class at best. I'm a wealthy dude, but it's not because my pockets. That's for damn sure. I gotta be on budgets and watch my spending and, you know, do the same things that everybody else gotta do. But the way that I do it and why and the emotions that are behind it, that's different. I could save $5 and somebody else save $5 out of two completely different mindsets. You see people, they got a whole bunch of money. They got a bunch of women and a bunch of fake homies feeding off of them, siphoning and being leeches. That's a sign of low aura. Real people with aura, do not let that happen to them. It's a self-respect thing. It's a sovereignty thing. That goes back to intellect, knowing how and why to use what you have. You could tell people with low intellect because they're out here getting finessed. Their energy is getting taken. Most of all, I always see people lacking focus. You know, if somebody has all of these things down, I know it's a good chance that they're lacking focus. And it happens to the best of us. But you want to be able to see these things in people so you can know who they truly are without peeping into their life. It only takes a few telltale signs. Moving with your chest out and holding your head high, that's not enough, especially in 2025. Big 25 going into big 26. It's not enough. And for a lot of people it is, and that's unfortunate. False aura is a real epidemic. The only way we can combat that is by displaying real aura within ourselves and reframing what it truly means to be of value. When it comes to wealth, I broke that up into 6 different categories that actually affect everything in your life. I could have took monetary wealth out because that shit don't really matter. All it is the manifestation of all your other forms of wealth, to be honest. But just because somebody's pockets are not lined with linen and silk don't mean that they don't have wealth. Sometimes people just haven't manifested it yet. You know, big payloads take a long time and they actually take physical actions. You have to put in consistent work over time to build the portal to pull these funds out of your, you know, your wealth as far as intelligence, spiritual, vital, you know, all of these things go hand in hand. In the order that I gave them to you, it was very much in order of value as well, of importance, except spatial. Spatial comes before spiritual, but temporal and spatial are like this. They're like this. Spiritual is at the top, monetary is at the bottom. But if it's one thing you want to do at all times, make sure that you are intelligent, period. You feel me? Intelligence is the #1 way, especially in a physical realm, that we can draw wealth from one thing and to turn it into another thing. It's called alchemy. The same way that I learned these things from myself through my own experiences, and then I'm bringing them to you, that's transmutation. And then you could take these lessons and turn it directly into a game plan that'll make you some money. You see the level of importance? You need intelligence and you need intellect to know how to manage your resources and even know that you have anything in the first place. Truth be told, you could have had all of these levels of wealth except monetary and intelligence, and you would not have known that you had any money. You would have thought you were broke. You feel me? You could have had real spiritual wealth. It's a lot of people that pray to God every day and they're very fruitful, very Christ-like in life, but they think they're broke. Like, you're not broke. If you have a connection to God and a connection to some sort of spiritual system, you are not broke. I don't care what the spiritual system is. And it's a common thing amongst false aura individuals. They lack a spirit. They don't have, a good relationship with God. And a lot of them are posers. A lot of them pose like they do, but they really don't. You got to be able to watch out for these things. Don't be judging people. You feel me? That'll eat away at your own spiritual wealth. But you want to make observations and move accordingly. See it amongst a lot of people. They're unhealthy and they use their time unwisely. They don't use their time properly at all. They say, oh yeah, I want to do this and I want to do that. But they just be eating junk food all day, bullshit, making plans about shit that'll never happen. Don't be like those people. You feel me? I don't even want to say those are people with false aura. Those are people with no aura. If you're in that type of cycle, you need to get it together. True wealth is in everything beyond the monetary. The monetary is just how it manifests into the physical. You know what I'm saying? It's almost accurate representation of your true wealth. But a lot of people don't have true wealth beyond the monetary and got a lot of money. And it's a lot of those type of sharks in this world. You don't want to take the playbook from them. You want to follow your own path and create your own way, because all of this inheritance that you're trying to manifest is spiritual at the end of the day. All the other types of wealth is just how it trickles down and manifests. You feel me? The reason why I'm so intelligent is because I connected with my spirit at an early age. Even before that, I was highly favored. I was very intelligent, but it multiplied by the time I tapped in with my spirit and my soul. If you want to know how to have good aura and express yourself on the highest frequency, you got to maintain a good relationship with your spirit, period. You got to tap into the higher power, man. That's the main thing. These things will trickle down into your focus, into your intellect, and into your other forms of wealth. But it all trickles down from the spirit. You feel me? So that being said, hopefully y'all learned from this video today. I really gave it to y'all plain and simple. I'm going to do a whole other video about wealth in specific and break down each level of wealth in depth so that you can know how to transfer, intellect to funds, how to transfer intellect to health, how to transfer spirit to intellect. The good thing about money is that it's transmutable. You feel me? One thing is of value to another thing, and you can switch them however you like. So if you like the video, make sure y'all like and subscribe. If you have anything to add to the conversation, please leave it down below in the comments. That's how we enrich each other and grow our knowledge base as a community. My name is Professor X, and I want to thank y'all for watching Patient X Holistic Healing. I'm going to get up with y'all in the next one. Peace.